Good day, YouTubers. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. The second lifeboat is well underway. I just painted the lower part inside there with the rusty red. And I got this deck board ready to go in when that dries a little bit, and we'll work on some other details on there. We got to drill some holes and mount the rudder, and we got to drill some holes and mount, where are they at? I know I cut them out. Oh my goodness. There's the rudder. There's the grill for the front. There's the cross brace in the middle. I got to cut and make a bunch of cross braces. Here they are. So these little brass looking pieces get glued on the railing in between where the braces go across there. And then we drill a 1/2 millimeter hole and stick a 1/2 millimeter rod in there that will give something for the oars to pivot on, like a pin sticking up, and you stick the oar on there in the pinhole in the oar, and they can row your boat. We got all the decorations on the outside done, but we got to do some painting, the white and the blue and the black. And I'm working on painting the rudders or the oars right now. I've already painted the paddle part of the oar with the white. And now I'm sticking them in here upside down and painting the handle part of the oar red. Then there's 4 little buckets to go on. Oh, I lost my little pieces. I didn't think about that when I moved that paper, because that's what the paper was doing. These are the handles for the buckets. I'm going to have to look for those now. Oh my goodness. I might have to make some handles if I can't find them. Just my luck, isn't it? I had them on that paper because one of the handles was busted in the kit, and I put some super glue on it and glued it together. I just got to get it off that paper. And the other handles probably fell on the floor. Good grief. I'll look for them in a minute. So, lifeboat number 2 will sit on top of lifeboat number 1. Well, actually that's number 2, and number 1 is the one we're working on now, as far as the plans go. And after we get that lifeboat done and get it mounted in there, we got people to put together and paint. And I think I'm going to use some of these leftover blocks to make a lifting apparatus for the lifeboats. And I might even install a gaff, like a crane arm, on this mast, or maybe on this one, so it could swing out and lower the boat down to the water. that's not in the plan, so we might do that just for fun. But after we get this lifeboat done, we got people to put together and paint, and the main nameplate to go on the stand. I'm thinking I'll try to get a list of materials up to build a display case similar to the display case that we built for the San Juan, and maybe make a better stand. Of course, this is an Artesia Latina model, and the stand that came with it is up there. We used that a lot while we were building, but I didn't want to use that for display purposes, so we came up with a better self-engineered stand for the display case to really make it pop. And the other little thing that I noted was when we started this model, the Royal Sun, it was February 26, 2022. This is video number 96 that we're on right now. We got a couple more, not counting the display case, but that'll be 2 years of build time. Of course, I built a lot of other stuff too in the 2 years, but it's been 2 years since we started this kit, so that's quite a spread of time. I probably averaged 8, maybe 10 hours a week at the most. Sometimes less, sometimes more. But you can calculate that in hours. And of course, the videos that we put out are just a little piece of each time we're working on it. And that's why I like to do the closed caption every now and then, because it captures a whole bunch of the process in a high-speed format that would take a lot of time as far as the video goes if you were just doing it in real time. So we're proud of it. Like the way she looks, and we get lots of comments. And I just got a comment last couple days ago, somebody that just ordered this kit and it came in, and they're going to start on it, and they're going to use my videos to help them go through the process of building the kit. Pretty much all the laser cut stuff and the laser cut brass, and that's probably die punch. When they do those brass things, those are probably die punch. But pretty much all that stuff is empty now, except for the nameplate, which is in here somewhere, but we'll save that for when we build our own custom stand. So I'm going to sit down here and take these paddles or oars one at a time, pick them out of there and turn them upside down and paint them red while this is drying, so we can continue on with the details and the paint on that. We probably got, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10. And from last week's video, we were planking this thing and we broke 2 of the frame boards in there. So we've done a repair on that. It's not perfect, but it's going to get covered up by this. So structurally wise, it's sound. And once we paint everything, I don't think you'll ever notice that we busted those 2 frame members trying to, I think I was putting a pin some of these little pins that I use to tack the plank boards down, because the plank boards are a 1/2 millimeter thick, really thin, and you can see a few pinholes in there where I was tacking them down to make them stay while the glue dried. But in the process of pushing that pin in there, these frame boards were so thin and flimsy that they just broke right off inside there. So we had to do a back up and punt repair. So let me sit down and put some red paint on these oar handles. Okay, so we got our little buckets with the handle glued on over here. We got the deck board glued into the bottom, and we painted the railing with the tan, and I'll have to paint these tan after we get them all in there, but we did that one first because that was one of the laser cut pieces in the kit. These other ones I'm having to cut them to fit. And you see my railing is hanging over a little bit on this right side, and it's pretty much flush on the left, so I can stick it up there and then mark it for a cut. And then if I cut it a little long, I was using the razor knife to cut it instead of the little saw or whatever. But this board is so small. I don't think it justifies going to all that trouble just to get a little board in there. So I'm going to test fit yeah, it's a little long yet. So this is some pretty fine sandpaper over there. I don't know what grit it is. I'll have to just a little more. And I'm looking at the piece to make sure that it's fairly square on the ends. I went ahead and used my stand with the alligator clips to hold it on the keel, because it's easier to work on it down on the table, but it flops all around, doesn't stay in one spot on that little stand that it came with the kit. So I'm putting it on this alligator clip thing. It sort of makes it solid. And of course, we will have to paint these tan when we get all of them done and they're dry. So that's the laborious process of putting the frame pieces in. Now I got to go find some more out of the stockpile. I think yeah, these are 2 by 3 millimeter or 2 by 2, something like that. It looks thinner than it is wide, so this might not be the right one. I gotta go to my parts list and double check and then measure these with the caliper and make sure, because these look sort of square instead of rectangle shape. Okay, so we got the cross ribs on, connecting the frames together. Now we're putting these little brass pieces upside down. You think this is bad until we have to drill a hole through there too. Put a little pin in there. Trying to get them centered in the rail. Each time I work, I get one done, I gotta clean my tweezers off, get that glue off there, and the rag doesn't do it all the time, so I'll take this nail file, get the last little bits off. I'm wearing 3x zoom glasses. And my face is probably 8 or 10 inches away from the work. Now that one. So hard to get these square. The detail. But once I get all those on, I'm gonna let this dry for a little while, and then we'll drill out with the 0.5 millimeter drill bit. And then we'll cut some pins and stick in there. And I'm gonna drill and mount the rudder before I paint the white and the blue and the black. I still got to come back and paint these tan, the beams going across there. So for this week we have a black stripe to put on the Lifeboat once this white and blue dry. We got the buckets painted up and ready to glue on with the handles on them. We got both stands painted up and ready to set the boats in. We got all the rudders or paddles and oars painted up and ready to bundle and put on there. And there is two little pieces that I haven't found where they go yet, but it's probably something to do with the bow. I gotta find those. And then last night I was watching some videos about rigging, and I found this drawing that showed lifting ropes for a lifeboat and 6 attaching points with a set of double blocks on a standing rigging from the main mast that stays there all the time, and then a running rigging from the foremast that would allow you to get slack on this main line to swing it away from the center of the ship. So that would tell me they're using 2 different people lifting, or 4 or whatever. They got a couple guys that are just pushing the ship or the lifeboat over the edge of the railing, and then the other guys let it down while they hold the guide rope or something. So I'm gonna, because I don't need to worry about a gaff or anything coming off the mast, I can use this larger rope for a standing rigging and run some blocks and running rigging ropes in there. And so I think that's the plan for now, for an extra to the build. So get our oars in there and a little more black paint touch up. Put these on the stand. I'm gonna have to glue this rope down in the bottom of there. Thanks for watching.